Welcome everybody to PMTS 2019. My name's Brian Such, and I'm with Marubeni Citizen, and we're proud to introduce some of our technologies today. Marubeni Citizen is celebrating their 35th year anniversary, and actually myself, I've been with the company for 35 years. So I'm proud to be a part of this team. And with that, we wanted to give you a good review of what we're doing here at the show today. We actually brought 6 machines to the show with bar feeds, running parts, so all of our machines are running parts today. We're going to focus on technology for our introduction to technology. We have a very interesting new technology called LFV, and it has to do with breaking chips and turning. But before we do that, I'm going to give you a little example of some of the other machines we're demonstrating at the show today, and we're going to talk about a couple of the parts. So I'll start off with, we've been working with our L series and laser technology. So we added a laser to our machine, but in the last couple years, we've been more advances in developing that we actually added a programmable focus for those of you that are in the laser world. And also we added the laser to our B-axis. We saw many parts that needed as simple as some slots cut in a part with the laser technology, but we needed these slots to be at all different angles so that the customer seemed to challenge us on every job to give us a more difficult part to manufacture. And so today with our programmable focus, we have a camera that helps for easy setup, and then also the ability of utilizing the B-axis. We have very interesting parts and technologies that we can show you on the right side of our booth, in the rear of the booth on our L20. This is an L20 Type 12, multi-axis Swiss machine. So it's the ability to use laser technology with Swiss machining all in one setup. And we've been growing and growing. The last big wave of technology was we were given the challenge to do laser welding in the machine. So we're actually able to do laser cutting and laser welding with one laser unit, something our competitions haven't been able to do to date. So we're very proud of that in the rear of our booth. We have another technology that we're showing. We have what we call the lower cost economical Simcom. This is run on the A20 in the middle of the booth. And the A20 is a simple Swiss machine, gang machine. But in this case, we're actually putting a 62 thousandths drill, almost 2 inches deep from each side in stainless. We're running stainless here at the show. And we're actually creating a drill point, and we're fluting that drill point. And the subspindle has to do milling work, all simultaneous. And so, again, trying not to show many of our competitors here are cutting air or cutting plastics. So we're cutting stainless here at the show for you. So now on that machine, we're actually utilizing some other technologies where we have tooling monitor. So we have 3 PM systems here to also answer any questions you have on our A20 series. If we move around the booth, in another example, we wanted to present to you the world today. So on our new multi-axis machine called a D25, it's a dual gang Swiss machine, 13 axis, full B-axis, 5 simultaneous axis B. Very exciting new control that has a touch screen, and with Simcom Special Citizen software, very user-friendly. We go to the next level of our user-friendly on this control. So please take a minute and go look on the right side of the booth for our D25. But in this case, instead of just etching the countries in this creative globe, we actually have removed material all around for the oceans, and it's a very complex setup done with some of our third-party companies we work with, the Esprit Software. So utilizing Esprit CAM software to program our 5-axis machine. Again, here on the right side of the booth. In the front of our booth, we have our Miano products. It is not a Swiss machine, it's a fixed headstock, but we have creative technologies where we bring our Mitsubishi Control and our Simcom technologies into the Miano side. And in this case, we have a one turret machine capable of functioning like a two turret machine with what we are known in the industry for as superimposition. And so we just wanted to show you some of this. So we have a nice little show part, a stainless steel screwdriver handle. But what we did for you is a technique is we ran the part in sequence in that the front side would do drilling and broaching, and the back side would do the second part drilling and broaching. And so once we handed the part off, then the two parts did the other side. So what we did was in one cycle, two parts drop, and just showing you some of the extra function of simultaneous machining. And so if you get some time, please check out our Miano NX. It's a 51 millimeter machine. Actually, it's a very exciting model in the United States, and it made about half of our Miano sales last year. Very convenient pricing, so please ask the staff and check out the NX. So Zach, if you want to light one up there. We also have a simpler Miano machine called a BNA 42S. And we just made a creative part for you that three different parts go together to make a little gyroscope. So we want to have a little bit of fun at the show also, get a little creative. And so sometimes you want to bring things home, have it at your desk, a creative little toy for you to take home. And so before this falls, I'll grab it. But a creative part that's actually three different parts put together, and the base. And this is all run in one setup on a Miano single turret, one of our, again, economical versions of our product in the Miano world. We go up to multi-turret, multi-function machines, so please ask questions, and if you had need for bigger machines, we have that available. So really at the heart of our technology stages and things that we want to talk about today is citizen unique development theme called LFV, low frequency vibration. Often on a Swiss machine, the toughest, hardest thing to do is to make a controlled process. And in doing this is breaking chips. So all of us who have ever run any machine, and mostly Swiss machine, is chips are our problem. So if we can break these chips, it's the solution to a lot of our answers. Citizen worked for many years to develop this technology. And we're gonna show you some on another screen here, and we're gonna switch from me. But as we do, you're gonna learn that we started this back in about 2012. Our first machine that we introduced with LFV was 2014. And so we're gonna start now and show you a little bit of this technology. We're gonna switch over. So frequency vibration is basically the ability to synchronize the Z-axis or the X-axis feed to the spindle rotation. But more than like a thread where you synchronize at one time, this is phase shift synchronized. What this means is the oscillation cutting is repeated exactly, even at high speed. We can actually change how many times it oscillates per revolution, and we're going to go into that more in a minute. So I just want to get you past the concept of the cut, and this graphic displays it very well. So if you see any tool starting to cut, as you see, we're going to bring that tool out of the cut and what we call actually make an air cut. And it seems so simple and so easy, but this is perfectly timed in 360 degrees at 5,000 RPM. And so as that cut goes from the first pass to the second pass to the third revolution, it's producing a serration on the face of the part, or a corrugation. So high spots and low spots. In general, if you were turning without this technology, you're going to create a flat wall or a flat shoulder at this surface. And when the tool comes back in to cut again at this surface, you have an extreme pressure load where your tool will load up and actually make blemishes and bumps on the finished part. But what this technology does is it creates this corrugated surface, so when the tool comes back in for the next little air cut to the air cut, we're actually coming down on the tool from the high side, bringing the cut in an entirely different way, so it's a much less energy cut. And so now this process is repeated up to 5.5 times per one revolution. If there's such a thing as typical, we go about 2 or 3 times per revolution. But basically the ability to oscillate the cutting tool to break chips. Now, whenever you stop moving that axis, then the oscillation stops and we'll have a straight wall. So once we get to a Z surface we're going to, we just come up an X and move on, and then we will have a straight surface. Here's an example of a cut. High-speed photography, very low. So now if we go into crosswork, a grooving feature, same idea that the spindle is timed by phase to the tool. So when that groove's coming down on the next cut, it is not bottoming in the groove that was previously cut. The serration comes down on top of the tool, making a lighter cut as far as pressure on the tool. Some of our customers say there's a 20%, 30% tool life increase in utilizing this technology. Let me break out of this for a second. You stay there. I'm just going to call up another one. So this was introduced at IMTS in 2014. This is a machine that we didn't sell many in the United States. It's called a VC03, but this was the starting of our technology. Now, what was very interesting is this machine was shown, IMTS, we wanted to get a feeler for what customers wanted, and actually, I think I can say every customer that passed through noticed the technology and wanted it. But all of them we're known for our Swiss. All of them wanted, and they said, when will this be on a Swiss machine? And so here we're trying to show this new technology, but nobody wanted it on this machine. They want it on a Swiss machine. And so only 2 years later, IMTS 2016, we had LFV technology on our L20 series, our most popular Swiss line. Look at the chips produced on a drill from LFV. So we didn't have to peck, just one motion, and in a way with LFV we're almost always pecking, eliminating the long stringy chip to bind in the flutes of the drill. So here's an example of a cut. I'd say it's a medium depth of cut, but here's the second cut. This shows the extreme ability of LFV. It's probably something you wouldn't do. Again, this is not a Swiss machine. This is a fixed headstock machine. Over a 5 millimeter depth of cut in stainless, down to like a 20 thousandths, a 0.5 millimeter diameter, cut with LFV. So very interesting technology. So now I want to talk a little bit more and show you a little bit more detail of the cut. While there's a little time here, I'll explain. Since the introduction of this technology, It's interesting that all of our competitors have some name, some word that they're, I'm going to use the word, copying this technology. It's not the same. They will feed and stop and back off like we could do 20 years ago, a starting of a cut and ending of a cut. With this technology, we're directly phased to the spindle, totally different than all competitors. So LFV technology is citizen only, and nobody else has this. So just a comparison of without LFV and with LFV, 5056 aluminum. And we all know the problem on the left, we've seen that. And so here's a good example of multi-oscillations per spindle rotation. So the ability to, no matter what, break the chip, and we can control the chip in a very fine amount, all depending on what you need in your application and your material. So again, this example is multi-oscillations per one revolution. This next mode is, we don't always need this small chip. Sometimes small chips are bad. So we can control the chip. This is multiple spindle revolutions per oscillation. Now we can control and program a 1/2 inch long chip, a 3/4 inch long chip, and that chip's consistent the whole cut. And this technology is just coming, maybe in June, this will release a mode for threading. If some of you have done 304 or Inconel or Hastelloy threading, the chips just totally rip the everywhere and it gets stuck everywhere. And so the ability to break chips during threading. So what this video doesn't show is at the end of the oscillating cut, we're going to have to do single threading to clean up the thread. Again, original citizen technology. Sometimes what we would think is the simplest feature is cutting plastic. That should be easy. Anything can cut plastic. Well, the same problem happens so often in nylons and Teflons that the chips just get so much in the way. They cover the tool, they cover the part, the sub-spindle has to come in. So we just do not have a controlled process. So some of you in the medical field run the plastic peak and all the other medical plastics. This technology is fantastic, not only on turning, but on grooving and cutoff. And an easy example, left to right, of LFV technology. And so there's no better way to explain the benefits and the use of LFV than a customer. So I was actually searching YouTube, searching the internet for things, and I actually found a customer testimonial. And I'd like you to listen to this one, please. Now we're gonna do the mic. And we'll both be on or no? Oh. I will, I just gotta find it.
Feature of carbide. So we found with the LFV, we can...
It's not at the beginning, give me a second. Well, you got a taste of what's coming up.
With Paul, Paragon Precision Products in Milton Keynes, massive fans of Citizen, Miano, sliding head, fixed head. We're here today though to look at the L20 LFV. First of all, a bit about the machine though.
Well, the LFV is a 20mm machine, but with an option of inch bar stock. So it's a big plus for us.
So it gives you a bit of flexibility in terms of that side of things, but also with the bar stock, how can you run that? in terms of standard bar?
So we can run guide bush or guide bushless. With the inch option, we can run guide bushless, and we get shorter bar ends, so we're saving on raw material stock. We're also able to run HE30 aluminium bronzes without grinding the bar, which is a big extra cost if you have to do that.
Okay, so straight away, both great cost savings in terms of remnant and not grinding.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Now the machine itself, in terms of, it's got spindle, sub-spindle?
Yes, it's a twin spindle machine. We have driven tools on the platen. We have driven tools on the sub spindle. We also have a B-axis, a manual B-axis as well, for doing angled wire lock holes.
Okay, so a lot of flexibility in product manufacturing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But Keith, I mean, you mentioned some great cost savings efficiency in terms of your bar, guide bushless, non-guide bushless.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about LFB, because that's one of the reasons why, I mean, you buy a lot of Citizen Miano machines, but LFB, why this one?
Well, the LFB was about 18 months old. We waited a year before we looked to purchase. We saw it, we liked the sound of it. It was like utopia for an engineer. It was the game changer. And that word's bandied about in tooling and machinery as well. But it truly is a game changer for us. To be able to chip swarf in varying different materials is a godsend to any owner of a company and any manager who runs the machines. So it's a game changer.
Okay, so there's options out there. The LFB, the actual machine is the whole
real
sort of product, or you can go the software. Why did you go the LFB and the Citizen?
We didn't want to buy an add-on. We wanted a machine that had it already built. So the machine's been built around the LFB, not otherwise. Okay. So we just wanted a machine that had all the drives, the servos were geared up for that extra load that LFB would add to it.
Okay, I'm going to ask a couple, I mean, people question in terms of LFB finishing. Does it affect the finishing of the components?
The finish is actually burnished, so it actually helps with the finish. Also, like I say, when we're doing small components with internal detail, swarf evacuation is key. And the LFB, even with high pressure coolant, if you don't have LFB, you can still incur problems.
Okay, what about tool life though?
Tool life is also improved. We've seen a 20% increase in tool life, but also above that, we've got tool breakage, which doesn't happen. So we haven't seen any tool breakage, any failure with LFB. We've seen tools wear eventually, but not total failure.
Okay, then cycle times though, what about that? Are they coming down, going up?
Cycle time at times can be slightly longer. We can see a slight percentage increase at times, but where the saving is, and this is the game changer, we can run complex mill-turn components in exotic materials at night, and we've seen at least a 50 to 60% increase in our lights out production.
That is a huge, huge percentage, but I'm going to put you to the test here. You've got a component here.
I have.
This is a great example of what you've done, so talk me through it.
Well, this part is a hermetically sealed connector. It's for the European market. It's made out of 316 stainless steel.
I'm going to have to look up hermetically straight away. Sorry about that, Paul.
Absolutely, yes. It's not a very sexy term, but I guess it sounds good. So we were making this on an A32, very competent machine with high pressure coolant. Our problem was lights out production. We were having issues with, there's a large deep groove behind the broach, behind the keyway, and it's very important. So we were finding we were having problems with extracting that swarf out of that small hole. Tools were quite brittle, just the nature of carbide. So we found with the LFB, we can control the chip size, which again, as I said, it's a game changer because we can control the chip size.
Perfect.
And we can adjust that in the software. So it's all part of the software.
Okay, and the tools as well, because I mean, really, really small tools, is that right?
Yeah, small diameter tools, 7-8mm diameter tools, carbide. You don't get a second bite of the cherry. When you get a swarf ingression or a build up of swarf around that tool, in a bore like that, it breaks. You lose parts, your night production's gone.
Excellent. I mean, that's a great example there. So I just want to quote, what sort of percentage were you quoting there? I just want to reiterate that.
It's 50 to 60% increase in lights out production.
That's a huge, huge.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Excellent. So, Paul, next step, another LFE?
Absolutely. I just need to get the price right and I'll absolutely purchase another one or two.
No pressure on the Citizen, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, everybody, thank you for attending our booth demonstration. We're proud to present to you our LFV technology, but as we stated in the beginning, we have technologies all across each platform of our equipment. We can show you our one-stop shopping, high-pressure coolant, bar feed, Citizen Simcom, Citizen Miano. So please take a walk through the booth and see some of the details of this technology. We also have our own automation department. We can do all different things at your request. We have designers that are from Citizen Japan, from our manufacturer, actually stationed with us for multiple years, for 5 and 6 years. And we're here to support you. So Thank you again for joining us today, and enjoy the show.